Romanian rents. The situation in Romania regarding the rents is really not the best, not the worst either, but it's shit anyway. To put it in perspective, let's say the minimum salary here is around 500 euros, right? The average, they say, is around 1k. Now, knowing that, one room apartments right now are about between 300 and 350 euros. And that if you're lucky, because right now, one room apartments that are decent to good start at 400, which is a bit too much if you ask me. It's half of your salary for one room apartment. But besides this, there are many weird landlords out there, and I was unlucky enough to have some, well, not so good experiences with them. The first experience that I had, the very first one, I moved from my mother. I was an independent, strong man. The first rent was fine for about 1 year, until the end. When we got to the end, I was accused to damage the wall and the fridge. The wall being fucked since I entered that apartment. But who cares, right? It was clearly not in a good shape, and it stayed that way until the end. Not to say that the fridge got dirty at some point. At least the drawer, you know, you have the fridge and you have a drawer there. It had some rails to drag it out. When I dragged that shit out, I noticed the rails were cracked. Okay, let me tell the landlord, hey, that's fucked. Just so you know that I discovered this when I was washing the drawer. Guess what? I was accused that I broke it. How? Who cares? If I discovered it, I'm at fault. Yay! Who's gonna check the rails from the drawer of the fridge when you rent an apartment? I wasn't. Now I'm doing it because I know what can happen. But back then, I didn't know. It's like having a table with a broken leg. You glue the broken leg so it looks like it's fine. Then if it falls again when someone uses that table, then of course it's gonna be that person's fault. That logic works. Fast forward, the second rent where I was able to sit for just a bit over 1 month. One time I was told when I came with my friends that our voices were a bit too loud, even though we were talking normally. But after that, I simply never came with my friends again at that place. I said, okay, fine. These people maybe are too sensitive, even though we were just talking. I guess I cannot invite friends, right? After 1 month, I was told that the neighbors made multiple claims and wanted to kick me out. Of course, I was shocked. That was my first reaction, because I didn't know what this was about, because the landlord didn't wanted to give me any details for some reason. And after we talked for a bit, she told me that basically there was screaming in my apartment during sleeping hours. I asked, what screaming? I never screamed in my apartment, not even during the day. And she told me that they were screaming from me and my girlfriend, you know, during closure moments, let's say. But it was not screaming. It was nothing beyond the normal noise that a couple would make. And even so, why no one told me in the first place? There was no neighbor, no one told me anything. Everybody kept silent, including the landlord. So they just waited for the claims to stack up. I asked the landlord, hey, do you have any proof of that? Because no one told me anything. She basically told me that I cannot force her to give me any proof whatsoever. But why wouldn't you? Especially when the landlord knew that I have no place to go, I can't go to my family, I have nowhere to stay, long story. But I think at least I could have been told and solved this situation as peaceful as possible, you know? But no, they just wanted to kick me out and that's it. And of course after that I had 1 month to get out, and fine, that's what I did, because I had no choice really. And unfortunately I didn't choose wisely because I was panicked, I didn't know what to do, and I tried to find something as fast as possible because my time was ticking, you know? Now, for example, after that, I'm in a place where I have a crazy old lady that basically she shares the wall with me. We have a common wall to the side, and she screams and knocks in the wall at the slightest noise, at the slightest inconvenience. Here it's not even me. She has a problem with every single neighbor, up, down, sideways, and I know that because I asked the neighbors, and basically they all told me don't bother, and normally that's what I would do. But guess what? One night, because I work during night shifts sometimes, or I'm just awake because I'm a night owl, that's my thing, you know, I was washing dishes during one night. Yes, it was late, it was like 3 a.m. I work during night shifts, I work from home, that's a thing. And this place, this is an open space, meaning that the kitchen is linked to the bedroom. I cannot leave dishes in the sink since they will smell. That will not let me focus, for example. Normally, I would ignore this kind of claim, but only to be called the second day by the landlord, being sweared at, and being told that I will be kicked out if I will wash the dishes again. Pretty normal, right? The issue in Romania is that the law is too gray, is too vague. That's the problem. It's very hard to know what's right and what's wrong, at least within this law. For example, the law says that you are punished legally by, quote unquote, the disorder with no right of the peace of the residents by making noise with any device or object or screaming. That's the law. That's all that it says. And it applies during these hours from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. These are the sleeping hours. I really don't think that washing dishes is gonna break any law by this definition. And I asked 2 lawyers and received this confirmation. This law also says something like, if you make any noise with any device or object. Usually this refers to something like, I don't know, if you're partying and you have your music too loud. But washing dishes, I mean, come on. But besides, I also discovered something else about the place where I'm staying right now. Something that I was not told from the beginning. Another bullshit. They didn't told me that this building is not even tabulated. That means the landlord has a promise contract. That means they don't really own this place, not fully. They kinda own it, but they don't in the same time. It's weird. And if I knew only this information, I would have already said no. Only to discover also that this building does not even have a sewage system. And of course, it was not mentioned when I signed the contract. But the landlord said that they didn't knew this about this apartment because they never lived here. Right. And now here I am, trying to find anything that's affordable to be able to move out as fast as I can and try to find a landlord that doesn't have all his screws loose. And this is basically my experience with rents in Romania by far. Besides the fact that you have to pay so much for the rent, I can't even live properly financially, and then I cannot even live properly by at least being free. It's not pleasant, but thanks a lot. And if you want to share any story, I will put the link to my email in the description. Then I can make a video, read every story that I get, if I'm gonna get any, because maybe I'm not gonna make any views on this video. So thanks for watching, and bye.
We're doing good as combined.